Hello everyone. Welcome back to the concluding session of my grammar class in this semester, that is Precis writing. I hope most of you know what is Precis. You might have learned in your lower grade about Precis, and let me give you some introduction about Precis writing. Okay. The word Precis comes from the French word Precis. So say it like this: Precis, Precis. Or you can accent the other syllable like Precis. So Precis is a specific kind of summary of an article, book, or speech that uses the language and overall structure of the original source. And I have given here is a British pronunciation: Precis, Precis, or Precis. You can either stress on the first syllable or the other syllable, and the last yes, the last alphabet yes is only pronounced if the word is plural and still the spelling is the same. I hope you could understand. Precis is a word, French word, so it is pronounced without pronouncing the last consonant letter S. So the pronunciation, I have written the transcription here, it is Precis, Precis, okay. And the last letter S is pronounced only if the word is plural. Then it should be pronounced as Precis. I have given the pronunciation, not the spelling. The correct spelling is Precis, but the last S is silent, and actually in plural it is Precis, and in singular it is Precis, and in plural it is Precis. Now let's see what are the features of good Precis. A good Precis is marked with clarity, brevity, and precision. I hope you know what I meant by clarity. It means it should be clear to the reader, and brevity means it should be of shorter length, and precision means apt. The person who writes Precis should make it clear, and precise words should be used. So Precis is a short written or spoken account of something which gives important points but not details, and it is not just lifting of the sentences from the original. It should be written in the Precis writer's own words. So when you read a long passage, you may understand the content of that passage, and it should be written in your own words. It is a miniature version of the original passage, means that is a small replica of the original passage, and must have logical order and be well knit and well connected. So when you write a Precis, it should be written in a logical order. That is, what should come first should be written first, and then comes the second point. That is, there should be some logical order and well connected. That is, it must have coherence, means systematic or logical connection between sentences, and must use linking devices such as so, therefore, because, further, etc. So these linking devices will help us to connect one sentence to the other, and it must follow the order of ideas of the original extract. That means you have no right to change the order of ideas presented by the original passage. the writer of that original passage. When you write a précis of a passage, you should follow the order of ideas in the same way as it is presented in the original extract, right? And must have a title. Even though your question is to write a précis of the following passage, and they may not mention you to write a précis with a title, but you are supposed to write a title for that passage. That means the title the title itself should make us understand what the content is. Okay, and it is written in reported speech, and most of the time the précis is written in a reported speech and must not contain any details not found in the original. Sometimes we may not be able to accept the ideas presented in the passage by the original writer, but we don't have any right to change the ideas given in that original passage. You are supposed to write only the ideas given in the original passage. You cannot alter it. And don'ts in a précis. So these are the points that you should keep in mind while you write a précis. And what things that you shouldn't do while you write a précis is given below. Do not express your own opinion, wish, remark, or criticism. Sometimes what happens is when you read a passage, you cannot agree with the viewpoint of the original writer, but you have no right to express your own opinion, wish, or remark, or criticism. You may not be agreeing with the viewpoint of this writer, but you have no right to write a criticism of that original one. And do not insert any questions in your précis. It is significance, if essential, may be expressed by a statement. So while writing a précis, you are not supposed to write an interrogative sentence. You can write such sentences in a statement way. And do not use abbreviations or contractions. And you are supposed to write sentences with brevity and clarity, but doesn't mean that you can use abbreviations or contractions for words. And do not be shaky. This suggests that most probably you have not understood the sense of the passage properly. That when you write a précis, you are not picking the original words from that passage, but instead you are rewriting the writer's viewpoints in your own language. But when you write, it should not be shaky, means that you should be able to present that idea clearly. That if you are not confident about what the original passage is written, your ideas may appear shaky. So general guidelines to follow while writing a précis is given below. The first and foremost thing that you have to do is closely read the passage, identify the central idea of the passage, and it is vital to identify the general idea of passage and incorporate it in one's précis. So you always get an unseen passage. You may get an unfamiliar passage. So when you read it for the first time, a close reading is essential, but read it with a moderate pace. When you read an unseen passage or unfamiliar passage for the first time, read it in a medium pace. And if you start reading very slowly, it becomes quite difficult for you to get the thread of that passage, right? So close reading is very essential to get the central idea of the passage. So when you read for the first time, read it in a medium pace, so that from that first reading itself, you will click the content of that passage. And in order to understand the passage clearly, make sure that you read the passage closely and give it a couple of reads before you start writing the précis. So once you want to write the précis of a passage, the first and foremost thing that you have to do is a close reading. So after the first reading itself, you will click the content of that passage, and you can select that content as the heading or the title of that passage. Then provide an apt heading to your Prezi. Note making is essential task for writing Prezi. You should try to arrange the points in most logical order and ensure the order of thought is the same as the original. 3 grammatical rules you need to follow while writing a Prezi are: write in third person, indirect form, and appropriate past tense. So after providing the title or heading to your Prezi, then start note making. So while you are in an examination hall, it is not possible for you to write a draft on a rough paper and redraft it and improve it. So what you can do is use a pencil and underline the important points, that when you read for the first time you will get the heading or the content of that passage. Then using a pencil you can underline the important points, and then the third reading, during this third reading you can write with your pencil 1 2 3 4 the order of points that you should use in a Prezi. So after doing all this, then you can start writing the draft of that Prezi, and after that you can finalize the original Prezi. So Prezi, as I told you, is a short written or a spoken account of something which give the important points but not details. So these are the points that you should keep in mind while you write a Prezi. So I shall give you a passage in a WhatsApp group so that you can try to write a Prezi based on that passage. Okay, so in the next class I shall provide you the answer for that Prezi. So I hope you could understand what I have explained. So Prezi is not just the copying of the original words from that content, and it should be brief, clear and precise, and it is a miniature form of the original passage, and the idea should be written with coherence, and linking words can be used, and you should always write a title even though it is not mentioned in the question, and use the correct grammar pace, and it should not contain any ideas not found in the original, right? So this is all about Prezi, and I shall provide you an example of the Prezi in a WhatsApp group. So try to do that answer, try to write a Prezi of that passage, and we shall discuss it in our next class. So thank you, have a nice day.